So by far, Red Badger's biggest talent-related challenge is competition. So in my industry, which is tech, there's literally thousands of companies in London. You've got the tier one management consultancies that are acquiring companies like mine. You've got VC-backed product companies that tend to overpay. You've got the likes of Facebook and Google who pay crazy bonuses. And then you've got thousands of competing companies to Red Badger. And all of those companies are vying for the same talent. So finding talent is extremely difficult.
So the way that the smaller tech companies are competing against the larger tech companies in terms of talent is, I would say firstly is the culture. Culture is absolutely key. But also if you think about it, society has moved forward. People want so much more than just, a very good salary. They want more flexibility, they want more autonomy in their role. They want to also make an impact. And this is something that the smaller tech companies can offer because they are at the, they're at the forefront of what they're doing. They also, need people that care about their business, are very passionate people, and are looking at making an impact as well. So it's sort of a win-win situation.
So the way that Red Badger has to deal with the fact that there's a dearth of talent is to really focus on building a strong ideology, a strong philosophy, building a culture, an environment that your employees are going to love to work in. So our ideology is all around being an incubator for enriching people's lives. Your employees need to come in and feel like you're invested in their future, that you're focused on their career, and actually you're creating a place where they're going to maximise their future earnings potential. So we differentiate on culture. We can't compete on salaries, so you have to focus on culture. It is hard, it's constantly evolving. Often culture feels like it's at breaking point, but having that paranoia and feeling like it is at that breaking point is key, because as soon as you feel like you've sorted culture is the point at which it starts to break. So you must always be focused on culture, and that's the key differentiator to the recruitment problem that is a dearth of talent.
In our work with scaling businesses, the things that we've seen that really create those high-performing teams are to allow your culture to evolve as you grow. It can't stay the same. You can keep the same principles, you can keep the same purpose and the values, but really that has to evolve. More importantly, bringing your people into that evolution and helping them design the future. Not only do they usually have better answers, but also then they have the accountability and ownership to really drive that forward. Secondly, I think is about equipping them with the next generation leadership skills that they're going to need. That includes things like resilience, adaptability, growth mindset, being able to harness the talent of others to really equip them for the future. And the last one is having the right employee blend. So it's a little bit Marshall Goldsmith, what got you here won't get you there. As your business grows, the mix of employees that you need in terms of skills, behaviours, culture fit, etc. needs to evolve with that.
Remote working is an issue that was talked about today at the Supper Club and is something that I think is got to be used sensibly and carefully. There was an interesting point made today. Not everybody wants to remote work, and make sure you never force it upon anybody. But I think I've certainly, in my experience, found it to be a liberating tool for those that do, either through personal circumstances or they're just more akin to wanting to work for themselves. So the tools that can help that, again, I think a lot of it unfortunately comes down to the accessibility of good broadband, and that's a key thing that if BT is not stimulated to do by the government, or other providers not stimulated by the government, won't happen. But that's key. Once you have that, then you have a whole bunch of technology that can help you. The same sort of things you talked about earlier, a lot of cloud-based technology, the communications type technology that we're involved in, allowing very easy conference calling, very easy video conference calling, very easy communications through Slack, instant messaging, presence, all that type of technology enables you to work remotely but feel you're almost like you're working next door to somebody in an office. So hopefully you should get best of both worlds.
I think it's important to understand that sometimes those that you're recruiting have a increased technical knowledge than, say, the person who's doing the recruitment. I think technology is going to come and help the people on the other side. When you look at artificial intelligence and machine learning, you've got a lot of things that are looking to help those people who are helping the people find jobs. Ultimately, it's about understanding who's in front of you and figuring out what you're looking for and making sure that the skills match the actual work that's being done. You know, there's no bait and switch, people see through that. And it's important to understand that the millennial generation, which is not really a term I like to use, I usually just say young people, is really important. They can see through a lot of that very quickly because you're very Googleable.
The challenge that every leader has got these days is recruiting and retaining talent that is aligned with your organisation. And so the more explicit you are, the easier it is. So you really be upfront about it. And there's one version of the truth. You know, as Mark Twain said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. And that kind of thing really resonates. People want to be authentic and work for people who do what they say. So if there's a veneer of, you know, right on, and then you go into the organisation and it's not very true to its exterior persona, then actually people won't want to stay around. So you'll recruit them, but you won't retain them. And generally what we find is the next generation of talent comes in from people who are already there. That's a really important kind of difference. You used to have to buy in people through recruitment consultants or what have you. More than half of the people that we bring are from personal recommendation, and then you try and get the person, understand them. So you do psychometrics, and you've got a very rigorous process to bring them in. But when you're in, then you try and mould them to the best version of them that you can make, which delivers to the objectives of the organisation. Not say that's your role, fit it. You know, it's the other way around. And if you do that, you generally find people will morph a role into something that really does add value to them as well as the organisation, and they want to stay. And they become, you know, disciples really of what you're trying to achieve, because it's them as well.
So we came up with the idea of the Futures Board, as we felt as a business a lot of our success has come from not just seniors but also kind of juniors that are new to the business, expressing really valuable ideas and creative, and we really like to encourage the entrepreneurship side of our company. So we felt that creating a platform that allowed future leaders, people whether they've been with us for 3 months or 6, 7 years, it gave us an opportunity to really give them a platform to hear them ideas, to voice them ideas, and to really demonstrate their future leadership abilities. So speaking on behalf of countries or speaking on behalf of departments, it's been incredibly valuable. So we've developed the Futures Board to really develop future leaders at Captify, to really give them a platform to show what they can do. So one example of this is we've had one person in particular that demonstrated such great leadership skills at our Futures Board meetings that the investors actually suggested that she becomes the chairperson for that meeting. So we've really given her access to the investors so they can actually show her exactly how a chairperson actually operates in a board scenario. And seeing her develop the skills where she has now opened up to make sure everyone's voices are heard around the table, really making sure we're operating in a timely manner in these meetings, and many other aspects that are really valuable for people kind of demonstrating leadership skills and even future chairs.
Employers can really learn from Generation Y, especially in terms of how much they've upped the pace in the workplace. Change is faster than it's ever been, and that's only going to accelerate with Generation Z coming into the workplace. The best thing that they can really do is to equip their people with the skills and qualities to deal with that change, to be able to adapt quickly, to have the personal resilience to be able to cope with that level of change. It's still true that human beings can only cope with a certain amount of change, but as that gets faster and faster, we're going to have to learn how to manage it, and that's going to be a key responsibility of employers for the future.